So your role, you very much sit at an intersection of strategy, operations, clinical, and innovation, of course. But from a healthcare perspective and leaders listening in, how should they be thinking about healthcare innovation today and what they should be doing to help perceive the innovation to continue to be better?
Yes, I think we all know that innovation is necessary. And I'm guessing for many people, it's just the thing on the list that we never quite get to. And it can feel a little maybe frivolous when you're dealing with, I'm short-staffed today, or the water main broke, or, I've got this other urgency. I've got a board meeting coming up I've got to get prepared for.
Yeah.
So it is, how do you invest and kind of make people explicitly responsible for innovation so there's time carved out in the day?
Yeah.
And then tie it really directly into issues that you need to solve. And so I remember in our early days, we used to have people that would go to trade shows and they would get out and there'd be vendors showing their latest and greatest technologies. And they would come back with, we've got to have this gadget.
Yes.
This is the thing that's going to...
that's going to take us to the next step.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's not the kind of innovation we're talking about, where somebody says, AI is so awesome. We need to bring AI into our hospital. I think it has to be, gosh, this process feels broken or it feels unnecessarily burdensome. How can we make it better? And then what are tool sets to do that? And that's maybe when AI comes up and you're looking for a really specific solution to solve that problem rather than responding to the ad you just got served up on social media, right?
Yes.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it does sound pretty cool. That's awesome. So how does the customer feedback, you've talked a little bit about this, but when you're looking at the customer feedback, bringing that into healthcare innovation, what role does that play when we're looking at deciding, new innovation is a good way to do that? Or like you just said, this is a process that needs improvement, and where do we implement ourselves in this?
Yeah. For us, really, most of our work should come from our customers, or there should be involved pretty early on.
Yeah.
I think we've all been in that situation. We have a great idea and we're so excited and we present it to somebody and they look at us like, what?
That's not really that great.
That's not how it really works in the real world. And so part of our team's job is really to take to spend time talking to clients and see, what else could we help you with, or what other issues are you having? And from a process improvement perspective, where is this not quite working today? We would have expected maybe you would call us on, 3 to 5% of your emergency patients, but that's not what's happening. Can we dive in and figure out what's happening in your facility and really understand what the gap is from where we want to be and where we're at today? Yeah. And customers have the answers to all that. And sometimes, they're reluctant to give that feedback. It's easy to say, it's all fine. It's a quick answer and move on with their day. So you look for those people that are really interested in having that uncomfortable conversation about, where we could get better. Or you look for those innovators that are thinking, I've dealt with this annoyance, this, friction in my whole career. And I'm going to step back and think, do I need to? Or is there a better way to solve this problem? And so I'm always looking for those people too that, can kind of poke their head up every once in a while and think, do I have to keep putting up with this, or is there a better way to solve this problem?
Yeah.
And I like to also think, like, can we think way outside the box? And so sometimes, you'll get people that are very focused on our current reimbursement models. How does this replicate the current reimbursement model? I think for us, a lot of the solution has been to put that to the side. Yeah. I mean, we had some grant funding to help us get there initially and think, what's the actual problem we need to solve? And then figure out how to build an ROI around that, how to, build a revenue model to make that make sense. So I look at our senior care business as an example. Yeah. A lot of times these seniors are cared for by, the same staff day in and day out, and they kind of know if they have a change in condition, and they kind of know when they need more help. The traditional model for telehealth would be maybe to bring in a physician to do a full visit on that patient, but often we're able to accomplish some of the same things with just, a quick look or a quick phone call and really help them get better. Does that translate into a reimbursable visit? Unfortunately not. Yep. But it does have a huge impact on that patient in that moment. And it helps that nurse get on with their day and taking care of the next patient and the next patient. And it's a really effective way to deliver healthcare and keep seniors in place. And so then you're looking at an entirely different economic model of how we can support the nursing home, but maybe support the primary care physician as well that's taking care of that patient that can't be there every minute of the day. So rather than focus on, the traditional way of doing things, it's also talking with clients, what's the actual burden you're facing, and then how can we help you solve that?
So from Avel's perspective, how do we get our current customers and partners to be involved with that process? Like, what are steps that Avel does to really get the feedback? Because sometimes people don't even have time to provide feedback. So how do we work through that process to be like, what are the things we're doing? How do we get these answers to really build upon what we're providing?
That's a great question. I mean, we are kind of reliant on people giving us a bit of their time to give us that feedback. And so, fortunately today, a lot of that can be done over a quick video call. You don't have to get on site and be very disruptive and feel like they have to roll out the red carpet for you. So that has helped a lot. We also try, and I think this is something we can continue to get better at, but get that just-in-time feedback after an encounter. Always giving people the opportunity to send a quick comment, and they do. They'll let us know what we're doing well and when we're not doing well. And I think that kind of feedback helps us, especially over time, collate like what are the themes that we're doing well with. I just looked at our emergency survey data, for example, and I was astonished at like the themes that were coming forward. Having not spent so much time looking at the data, it was really about the nursing support. And so we talk a lot about bringing this emergency physician into the scenario and, helping coach through maybe some of the most difficult procedures these individuals ever do. I think that is extremely valued. But what you hear coming forward is, you just took care of me. Like you took care of the busy work, administrative work, so I could just be there.
Focus,
And the power of that, like seeing that in writing is really helpful. And to make sure then as a service line that we're continuing to invest in taking care of our bedside team because it's so valuable to them.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, and I love hearing those stories from the clinical team because they're like, this is just what we do every single day. And I'm like, did you read that statement? It's a huge difference. You've made an impact not only on the patient's outcome, but all of the team that's working with them, or when we've had situations where it's not been a positive outcome, and the reassurance to that team saying you did everything you could at the bedside. Like that means more than anything else.
Yes.
Yeah.